to God in the Grass, the channel where I yell at the camera and you respond.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you.
But those of you so polite to stick around for my ramblings.
Fantastic work! Doing me and me alone a real service!
A lot's happened since we last talked, so take a seat, grab some snacks, and some Muggles magic oregano. I'm gonna be going over some of what's been going down, some of the updates, some of the lies, some of the evidence, the clinic's responsibilities, and all of this in... So first things first, in my last video, in the interest of fairness, I talked about Carly's actions in the early days of medical cannabis in the UK. While still true, unfortunately, MedBud received this letter from Carly. CanCard know that their card has jeopardised legitimate patients in the UK. They know they're perpetuating misinformation. It doesn't seem like Carly's taking any responsibility for it whatsoever. Now here we go! We see the misinformation machine hard at work. CanCard put out a thread of tweets, X's, thingies, whatevers. They say they put this up in part because a letter from August 2022 was circulating around again. The letter is the one that I've been talking about, the one from the Department of Health, where it clearly says CanCard doesn't provide any legal protection. Why should the fact that the letter is a year-old matter, you ask?
Really asking the real questions here.
Fantastic! Could it be that the same day that this post was created was the same day another letter came from the Home Office this time, saying the same thing? I don't know. When you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see a good old Aussie asking CanCard the vital questions. Okay, so why is the card even needed? And CanCard responded. Let's break it down. So patients have a way of proving themselves legitimate. We already have this. It's called a prescription. Could they have used the words person who uses cannabis medicinally? But no. Again, CanCard chooses to align themselves with patients here. CanCard has aided in the delegitimization. Patients having a way of proving themselves as legitimate. Already are legitimate. Educating police forces on medical cannabis. Who said you had the authority? Education or remit? What education? Every time, even now when we hear from the police, your education, it's been in the form of leaflets or 60 seconds briefings. Assisting patients. So for 1 second, just let me put my Mr. Nice Guy badge on. I recognize in paying for a CanCard, you are entitled to a stop and search guide and similar resources. I am relieved to hear of any card holder that has avoided prosecution. But here's the thing. When it comes to that basic legal information that you are paying for, most of that information and resources are actually available freely online. But regardless, if you are someone who is entitled to this medicine, then your clinic is the one who should be making this information accessible to you. It's information and advice that should be provided to you as part of your care. If you're a patient, as CanCard puts it, you've no need for CanCard's assistance. You wouldn't need legal defense. You've got one. A prescription. That is the only legal defense. Creating a community where patients feel supported. If the vast amount of the patient community was condemning me, maybe it would be time to look in the mirror and ask myself, how can I claim to represent a whole group of people who clearly don't respect me?
Who the f*** do you think you're talking to?
Now, hey look, I can still be nice. CanCard, to the credit, did actually change the text on their expired cards after I posted mine online. It used to say, this person is not a medical cannabis patient, something which, of course, again, not true. What it should have said, this person is not a CanCard customer. So, taking some action and responsibility, CanCard fixed that. Why was it there in the first place?
Brilliant question.
Was it maybe that CanCard can't stop themselves from calling all their customers patients? When CanCard spoke to Cannabis Health, they said that they represent a patient community of over 70,000 people. Patient implies that someone is receiving or is registered to receive medical treatment. You aren't receiving any medical treatment or care when you register for CanCard. You don't need to be a patient to purchase the card, and likewise, if you're a patient, you've no need to purchase the card. With the rise of patients in the UK coming about in part because of recent media coverage, CanCard's only growing. CanCard are clearly capable of making changes, but they choose not to. What are those changes that need to be made? The biggest culprit? The one place that promises so much but provides so little. The first place a person might decide to go when purchasing a CanCard.
Edmund, CanCard is a medical ID card for your sweet ganja.
Is it recognized by the police?
Oh, my sweet Edmund.
the home page. Medical ID card. No, CanCard's listed as an advertising agency. They aren't recognized by the NHS, they're not governed, registered under any medical, clinic, sciencey type pharmaceutical regulation people. Recognized by the police. Our survey says... Oh, they're engaged with the Police Federation and the Police Foundation. Both are independent and both have no authority over the law or how the Met decides to deliver enforcement. A validated indication. It's just validated by CanCard. Who else? I'm not validating it. They don't have a license to access patient prescriptions or even have the authority to hold that information. Consuming cannabis for medical reasons. Again, they're not qualified to assess this. CanCard, I ask you again, just take responsibility and action. CanCard's education of the police has just gone down like a lead balloon. A patient recently posted a video of themselves being stopped and searched by Norfolk police.
I'm going to detain you for a search under Section 23 of the Misuse of Drugs Act.
That would be unnecessary, because I'm prescribed cannabis, as you know.
Okay, well, I'm going to detain you for a search. It doesn't matter.
They asked him for his CanCard when his prescription just should have been enough.
Have you got a CanCard on you?
You don't need a CanCard, you just need to be prescribed cannabis by a doctor. CanCards aren't legally valid.
They still search him even though his prescription, his ID, dispensing label should have been enough. Throughout the video, they're just skeptical that medical cannabis even exists, a story that we've heard all too often. Based on the information that CanCard has given them, which seems to be the only training they're getting around any of this, which again, as I said in my last video, is still the fault of the Met. But again, I say the police need real education on this. Now you're asking, wait, what do all these pharmaceutical companies providing this dank jazz cabbage have anything to do with all this? Fantastic question. Could they ask CanCard to start directing potential patients to an actual clinic? But wait, that would make CanCard completely obsolete. Could they hold CanCard's lies to account? They have the ability, the money, educate their patients, to educate the police. They shouldn't be leaving that responsibility to some third-party company who's just jeopardizing the legitimacy of their own prescriptions that they're giving to their patients. Currently, there's no known clinic that actually endorses CanCard. Clinics, so many of your patients still don't feel safe having their prescriptions, going out in public with their prescribed medicine. Now in your head, you're probably thinking exactly, yo, notorious GIG, why don't you tell the pharmaceutical companies and the clinics to condemn CanCard? What have you done to disassociate from CanCard? What are you doing now to proactively prevent patients from repeatedly being put in jeopardy with the police and not just responding reactively?
Now, there's a loaded question. Would anyone like to publicly disassociate themselves with CanCard on this call?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for being so blunt, as if I wasn't expecting anyone to take me up on that.
More than happy to join that.
We don't have an official relationship with CanCard. From this question and the previous, is something that we as clinics obviously need to address.
I applaud these pharmaceutical companies that want to stand with their patients. Now it's the rest of the industry's turn. Will you stand with patients who don't want to see a private company make money from the confusion that they've helped create? A marketing agency that puts your patients in jeopardy and delegitimizes the protection that we pay so much for. That's everything for today, guys. I've been working on this one for weeks. I've had to put a few things in my life on the back burner. Next time on God in the Grass, I'm coming for the copycat companies who are creating their own medical cannabis ID card. We need to stand together as a patient community to hold ourselves responsible. CanCard, the Met, the government, the pharmaceutical companies and the clinics. We are all responsible. No patient should fear prosecution, harassment and discrimination in this country. Only by standing together as a community can we bring about real change. Next time on God in the Grass.
We're here with Kirsty from CanCard.